day and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reading Reddit. It's one of my favorite things to listen to, and so I got the itch to make a video, and here we are. I have my laptop in front of me with Reddit open. I have my beverage of choice today in my Hello Fall cup. We have an Irish cream and regular cream and dark roast coffee, and I also have a pumpkin loaf, so cheers. All right, we're going to dive right in. This is just going to be random. First one. Am I the asshole for telling my brother that the day he was born was the worst day of my life? Well, sounds like you are. Context. I, female, was born in 1962, so she's old and should know better than this. In a rural area before ultrasound machines were everywhere, and the nearest town was not that close to us, and babies were born at home and delivered by the same midwife. So when I was 7, my mother got pregnant with twins and had no idea she was carrying 2 babies. And the midwife, who had just delivered the first baby and probably did not realize that there was one more to come, had to be immediately driven by my father to another farm where she was needed, which means that when my mother's contractions started again, oh no, this sounds bad. I was then alone in a farm with her and the first newborn baby, and it was up to me to deliver my youngest brother with my mother instructing me. This was hands down the worst and scariest moment of my life because I feared both my mother and the baby wouldn't make it. Well, thankfully, it all worked out. There you go. Miracles happen. Now, here's what happened. Last weekend, my husband and I were celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary. Oh, have you seen people doing this? For clapping? Sorry if that's you, but I can't do it. I'm so millennial. So we were celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary, and we had a party and people were making speeches and talking about us. But when the mic got to my brother, who of course has no firsthand memory of his own birth and only knows what he was told about it, he took the chance to tell this story as if it was a fun anecdote. And then my dad got home and there were 2 babies instead of 1. So funny. Anyone, I think she meant anyway, thanks sis for helping me come into this world. And everybody thought it was fun and sweet, but to me, it was the opposite. It brought back some memories that are not all positive to me. My mood completely shifted after that, and I think my brother noticed at once because he came to talk to me afterwards and asked if he had said something wrong. I then told him that this is not a funny story to me, and that the day he was born was indeed the worst day of my life and not something that I'd like to think back in a happy moment celebrating my marriage. And then he went quiet and said, wow, I was trying to honor you and that's how you thought of my speech? The thing is, I was saying that him being born wasn't a bad thing. I love my brother. It's just that the circumstance of his birth made the occasion traumatic for me, and that he should know better than talking about it as a fun fact if he put himself in my shoes. But now I think I should have kept quiet and said nothing. Am I the asshole? Okay, I have lots of comments, as I also do. My hot take is that it's your responsibility as a, oh my God, how old is this person? 40, 60-year-old person to deal with your own trauma. Like, that is a fun story to your brother. And you don't, it's something I learned was to manage my own emotions and not weaponize them against other people. You can be upset, but it's a 40th wedding anniversary. Like, it's your job to deal with your trauma and not let it affect you for all of life. Like, everyone has things that they've been traumatized by. Like, I have huge trauma in my life, but it was my job to go through therapy, deal with my trauma, deal with my alcoholism, deal with my character defects so that I don't weaponize that against other people. And then if people, you know, like, I was an alcoholic. I've been sober for, I think it's going to be 13 years this year. I can't even remember, 13 or 14 years this year. And I also work in a restaurant. What am I going to be like? Don't drink around me. I'm an alcoholic. I was also sexually assaulted. You know, anytime anything comes up in movies, or I'm an actor, like, there's lots of that kind of content, acting. I have to deal with my trauma so that I'm not re-traumatized every time something comes up that reminds me. That's her job as a 60-year-old woman, to deal with her trauma. She was 7 years old. I'm sure it was scary, but deal with your trauma and move on with your life. You know, like, that's what you have to do as an adult human being. And then on top of that, to let it sour your mood on your 40th wedding anniversary, that's not fair to your husband. Like, it's about compartmentalizing. It's like, I had a bad day. I need to go into work and be a server. I need to go on set and be like a happy mother of two. I need to go do whatever I need to do. You compartmentalize that part so that you can do your job properly. Compartmentalize the fact that you were upset over your brother telling this wonderful, cool story. If you just change your perspective on the story also, like, you're a hero. Become a hero. Don't be a victim, you know? I think she is the asshole for telling him that that was the worst day of his life, because, like, yes, it's scary, but scary things happen, and scary things are continue to happen to you and continue to happen to your family and your kids, and you have to learn how to deal with that properly and move on, so you're not 60 years old and still traumatized by something that happened 50 years ago, to the point where someone can't mention it at a story and it ruins your day on, like, a good day. Like, it's weak to me. Someone wrote, "You're the asshole for how you phrased it. I don't know how someone else should take being told that the day you were born was the worst day of my life. Had you said the day you were born was very traumatic for me, I was so scared that you and mom wouldn't make it, it would have conveyed a whole different sentiment." I agree with that, but I also think that, like, at this point in time, you're being a pussy. You're being a victim. Like, go to therapy, deal with your trauma, change your perspective, move on with your life, because, you know, like, terrible traumatic things happen to people every day. If they let that wear them down for 50 years, life would never move on. I don't even want to read the comments because they're like, all, you know, there's a much better way to convey that to your brother. Have you ever talked to your brother about this before? It's a wonderful tale. Like, you know, she may not have meant it cruelly, blah, 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 you know? So let's move on, because I'm right in this. Oh, so you are the asshole. I don't know why I immediately put on an accent every time I do that. I've never seen this. On the side of the Reddit, "Am I an asshole?" it says, "A catharsis for the frustrated moral philosopher in all of us, and a place to finally find out if you were wrong in an argument that's been bothering you. Tell us about any non-violent conflict that you have experienced. Give us both sides of the story and find out if you're right or you're the asshole." Good one. Okay, let's try this one. "Am I the asshole for not wanting to arrange or go to family events anymore because of a cousin's boyfriend?" Depends on what the cousin's boyfriend did. For context, Mina, 24 female, is on the autism spectrum. She's sweet and gentle, but she's also not as emotionally or intellectually mature as most people her age. Her parents are supportive with the things that she wanted to do in her life, but do not instill any expectations on her. She relies heavily on her parents for decision making and guidance, but she can be very easily persuaded. Because of this, whenever she used to go out with her boyfriend Jake, 26 male, her mom or her sister would usually go with him just to make sure everything was okay. Jake is her first and only boyfriend. They met through TikTok. According to Mina's older sister, Angela, there were only 2 times she went out with them alone, and after one of those times, Mina got pregnant. Wow, that's trouble. Now, I know both of them are adults, and I don't want to judge people in relationships where one person is neurodivergent, but in Mina's case, given her level of dependence and difficulty understanding certain situations, it really felt like she was taken advantage of. I agree. I know plenty of people on the spectrum who can make mature, independent decisions, but Mina just happens to be on the part of the spectrum where she needs extra help, and her parents have always made sure she's protected. Understandably, her parents were devastated at first, but forgave her and decided to support her and the baby. They didn't allow her to live separately with Jake since they barely knew him and didn't trust the situation yet. Instead, they let Jake move into their house and even gave him a job in their small construction supplies business since he was unemployed. Red flag number 1. Number 2, I'll admit I never liked Jake given these things, But what really rubbed me the wrong way was when he insisted that the baby should have his last name. Me and his parents didn't agree, especially since they're not married and the circumstance of the pregnancy were complicated. Jake even started citing legal rights as a father, which to me came off as very bold considering everything that had happened so far. So yeah, I don't like him. I try to be polite, but it's hard to shake off the feeling that he took advantage of someone who didn't fully understand the situation she was in. Here's where I might be the asshole. My family often visits Mina's house since we're all pretty close, and I've just started to dread going there because I get bad vibes from Jake. I also usually help organize and pay for family vacations and get-togethers, but lately I haven't been wanting to plan anything because I know he'll be there too. My parents think I'm being hateful and that I'm not giving him a chance. They say he's trying his best and he's working hard to provide for Mina and the baby, but to me, work ethic doesn't erase the fact that this whole situation feels wrong and uncomfortable. So am I the asshole for not liking Jake, not wanting to arrange family trips anymore because of him, even though this doesn't directly affect me? There's 2 edits, so we're going to read that. Edit 1, just to clarify, I've never talked to Mina about my opinions of Jake or their relationship. I don't bring it up at all when we talk. The only people I've shared my thoughts are with Angela and my parents, usually when the topic comes up in conversation. Edit number 2, I also want to clarify something because a few comments seem to be misunderstanding Mina's situation. She is not handicapped or disabled. Autism looks different for everyone, and it's really hard for anyone outside of the family to judge what she can or can't do. Mina can do a lot on her own. She helps around the house, does daily tasks, and participates in family activities. It's just that for more complicated situations like relationships or major life decisions, she needs guidance and support. Her parents have always been incredibly supportive of her, and everything she wants to do can feel normal. They've never failed her or tried to limit her. They just step in when she genuinely needs help. Okay. I'm of 2 minds. 1, OP, original poster, can do whatever they want. If they're not comfortable with this person, you don't have to go hang out with them. You don't have to plan trips. You don't have to do that. But I'm also of the mind that if you deem someone to be in a bad relationship, pulling yourself out of it isn't going to help that bad relationship at all. Example, say my best friend, this is a fictitious person, Anna, was dating a guy that I thought wasn't good enough for her, was a bad guy, wasn't treating her well. I believe it would be bad for Anna to remove myself from that situation and let that happen. She needs support. I've been in bad relationships. And men that are toxic try to remove their partner from their friend group. So you want to stay there for support. You want to be around Mina, your cousin, for support. And, if you're in a social situation with this guy, what's his name, John? I can't remember. You can be that mirror. You can be there to, if he says or does something weird, be like, oh, sorry, say that again? What did you mean by that? That doesn't make sense. Explain yourself. You can be kind and nice, and that's what I would do. If you really don't want to do that and feel uncomfortable, then don't. But that's also kind of taking away your support from a family. Her parents don't like the situation, but they're being supportive. They're giving him a job. They're, letting him live in the house, trying to create a good family situation so that it works. Taking away your time and your support and your affection is not going to help that situation any. So do you want to help her that situation, or do you want to help yourself? Essentially, I'm strong enough that I could be in an uncomfortable situation to be supportive to my cousin. Another thing, she talks about how this guy, OP's boyfriend, Jake, wants the baby to have his last name, as he should. He's the father. Traditionally, that's what happens. I believe that is right for what a father, that shows me that he wants, hey, sorry, my cats are getting into trouble. That shows me that he wants to be a father to this child. That's a good sign. When he's like, this is my baby, I want this baby to have my last name, that to me is a sign that he wants to be a family, that he wants this child to be his, which is what you want for your cousin, So, all in all, I don't think you're the asshole, but I do think that there is a culture in this day and age where people are really entitled. They're like, it's about my comfort, it's about what I think, it's about me and my people. Like, part of being a friend and a family member is being inconvenienced. If you want good relationships, you have to sometimes be inconvenienced for that. You have to drop what you need to go help your friend. You have to be in uncomfortable situations to be supportive to your friend. You have to go to the bad play. You have to, do things for relationships that maybe you don't want to do. Maybe you want to be on your couch scrolling on your phone, but you're going to your cousin's nephew's birthday at a go-kart racing thing, and you hate go-karts. You know what I mean? So I think if we all just become a little bit less entitled and a little bit more supportive to the people around us, that will make our relationships stronger. And it might make, like, if you develop a relationship with Jake, maybe he'll get inducted into the family more often. Maybe they'll be together forever. Who knows? But there's a baby in the mix, right? They're having this baby. There's a baby in the mix. Like, it's better to be on pro his side rather than be a Debbie Downer for all of eternity. Let's move on. Next, am I the asshole for letting my children order full meals instead of kids' meals? I'm going to go with no. We went to a restaurant for my mother-in-law's birthday lunch. When orders were being taken, sister-in-law announced that all the kids would be having kids' meals, chicken fingers and fries with juice. My 9-year-old and 4-year-old eat adult meals. 2 chicken tenders and a handful of fries will not fill them up. So when the waiter got to me, I told him my kids will have adult meals since I'm the one paying for them. So they ordered their meals, and my sister-in-law was pissed. She said I embarrassed her and made her kids question her, because she told them that they were all getting the same things that the other kids were eating. So, am I the asshole? Short. No, you're not the asshole. It's your family, it's your kids. Eat whatever you want. Chicken fingers and fries are not healthy. I don't have children. I've worked at restaurants my whole life, and most restaurants, their kids' meals are awful. It's like chicken fingers, pasta, pizza, burgers. That's not, in general, good, healthy food you want your children to be eating. I'm very much of the school, if your child wants to have the adult salmon, if your child wants to have sushi, if your child wants to have a steak, if your child wants to have oysters, get it. All of those things are better for them than chicken fingers and fries. I think the sister-in-law just feels like a bad parent because they either, one, can't afford $30 adult meals for their kids, or two, like, feels bad about feeding her kids all the same chicken tenders bullshit. That has nothing to do with you. That has everything to do with your sister-in-law feeling inferior. And as long as you're kind to her about it and say, I'm paying for the meal, sorry that doesn't work for you, but this is what my children eat, like, that's easy. Not the asshole. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Alrighty. Am I the asshole for having different expectations for my daughters? I'm gonna say yes, you are, but let's find out. I have 2 daughters, Maya, 27, and Eva, 23. Maya got an associate's degree in child development, music education, and psychology, and takes classes part-time in special education and school administration to get extra certifications. Eva completed nursing school a few months ago. They both live at home to save money. Maya works a minimum of 50 hours a week. Poor Maya, Jesus. She's a nanny to a single mom that works as a nurse, so 1 day a week she works from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 3 days a week. Then the next week she does the same hours 4 days a week. She also teaches ballet and music classes at a couple local schools. When she works back-to-back shifts at her nanny job, she tends to sleep there so she doesn't have to leave the house by 5:30. Eva is burnt out from nursing school, so she only works 20 hours a week at a clinic. She works from 9 till 1 and then goes home. She's considering quitting altogether and going back to school for cosmetology. Since Maya works so much, if she starts a load of laundry before work, my wife and I have no problem transferring it to the dryer and folding it for her. Since Eva only works part-time, she's expected to be responsible for her own laundry. Another difference in expectations is with pet care. Maya is not expected to walk or feed the dogs, a Chihuahua mix and what my kids call the mutt of all mutts, and cat. Eva is expected to do so 3 days a week. Eva is also the one that asked for one of the dogs and the cat. We also tend to do more favors for Maya, dropping off meals at work, picking up things for her, or making her a simple meal, especially on the days that she comes home from a 15-hour shift and the day that she comes from back-to-back shifts. Today, we reminded Eva to take her clothes out of the dryer before she goes out. She's a habit of starting the washing machine and dryer before going out with her friends for hours overnight, and she said that we do Maya's laundry, so we shouldn't have a problem doing hers too. I told her it's very different doing it for her sister who works 15 hours a day and doing it for her when she's just going out with her friends. Now she's mad about favoritism because Maya doesn't take care of the pets or pay her car insurance. She uses her car for work, so her boss covers her insurance. So that's a moot point. Or as Joey Tribbiani likes to say, that's a moo point, because it's like a cow's opinion. It's moo. My wife always had a habit of giving in to her, so now she's saying that we should be harder on Maya because if Eva can handle these responsibilities, so can she. I still think it's understandable to help the daughter that is working 15 hours a day plus 20 to 30 minutes commute, but not feel bad for the one that works 20 hours a week and needs the same level of help. I changed my mind. I think that you're not the asshole and that it's not treating your children differently. It's different circumstances. I think that if the roles were reversed and Maya was working 20 hours a week and who's the other girl? Eva is working 15 hours a day, I think the parents would treat them the same with giving a little bit of leeway to Eva. I think if it's only favoritism and unfair is if they're in the same situation and they're getting treated differently. They're not in the same situation. One is working more than double the other amount. It's like Ian works from home. I work outside of the house. Ian, in turn, therefore does most of the housework because I'm out of the house most of the time. It's different situations. If these two sisters had the same situation, they're both working the same amount, and they're being expected to do different things, that's favoritism. I think it's mean and unrealistic and irrational to expect someone who is working 50 plus hours a week to walk the dog 3 times a week, do all the chores, do the laundry, and things are going to change. Like Eva, who only works 20 hours a week and is considering quitting and going back to cosmetology, if she goes back to cosmetology and starts working 15-hour days and then Maya lessens her load, things will probably inevitably change. I think being a parent, you're going to be giving different things to different children at different points in time based on their needs at that moment. So I don't think it's unfair or favoritism. Let's see what the comments have to say. Soft, you're the asshole, but not for the obvious reason. 2 adults have different needs. That's fair. And what you do for one does not necessarily mean it has to be done for the other. However, I ask that you go back and reread what you posted because what I read tells me why Eva is upset, that you have a clear and obvious bias towards Maya. Even the way that you describe them shows it. I can only imagine how much more obvious it is to Eva that you favor her sister and that she will always be second best in your eyes. You've got a much bigger issue here and it will end up wrecking a relationship with one of your children. I suggest you spend time reflecting on this, not defensively, but honestly, because if it's obvious to an internet stranger, you have a problem that needs to be dealt with. I actually don't agree with that. I don't think there was anything in the post that shows that the parent likes Maya. I think that I only saw facts. It's like Maya works so much. Eva is, I think where the commenter is getting a little bit tricky is that they're saying Eva's burnt out from nursing school. She only works 20 hours. So it's probably saying only works 20 hours, which I agree. You only work 20 hours. That's half the amount of a full-time job. She's considering quitting altogether and going back to school for cosmetology. I think those things that this person is saying factually the commenter is taking as saying it in a derogatory sense, because none of that sounds derogatory. In my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, lazy ass working only 20 hours a week. Okay, that's me. That's where I'm taking it, right? So, but that's my perspective. This person is, the OP is only saying things factually. So I think you're not the asshole. I think you do need to have that conversation though with Eva. Hey Eva, I understand this is probably part of a bigger problem where you think that we love Maya more. That's not true. We love you both equally, and you're just in different spaces. Maya's working a lot and she needs our help. You don't need our help quite so much. When you do, we're gonna be there for you. You know, if you didn't like nursing school and don't want to do that, that's fine. You know, if you want to go to cosmetology school, get it, girl. Go to cosmetology school. We support you in that. But we're also supporting your sister in a different way, and that looks like acts of service right now for your sister. You don't need that from us. We need you to help because this is a family unit. And it's like, not everyone is going to have the same energy levels at all points in time. Like in a relationship, like I could be at a 30% energy level and Ian could be at 70, so he picks up most of the slack. And sometimes Ian could be at a 10 and I'm at a 90, so I pick up the slack. Like, you don't resent the other person for their low energy level at that point in time, their low battery level, their low, you know, you're a team, you're a family, you're a partnership. If you're high, you pick that other person up. If they're high, they pick you up. That's the same in a family unit. So Maya's having a hard time working 50 hours a week and she needs help. You're only working 20 hours a week. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna help her. And when you're in that situation, we're gonna turn around and we're gonna help you. Right. Go team. This looks funny. And it was posted 45 minutes ago. And the username is Big Titties for Lunch. So funny. I never look at usernames. This just came off to me. Okay. Am I the asshole for saying ew to a picture of my roommate's boyfriend? I'm gonna go with yes. That's just rude. Okay. On a burner account, so hopefully they won't find this. 19 female, there's the problem right there. You're 19. You haven't learned your etiquette yet. Have been living with my roommate, 19, since February of last year. And ever since we have moved in together, our relationship has been total chaos. She is a Great Dane, my God. That doesn't have enough space in our apartment. She doesn't care about the cleanliness of the hardwood floors, nor being very hospitable towards guests. She's temperamental and gets upset over what seems like nothing, and I can't get through to her why my friends and I don't want to spend time with her despite her wanting to be the center of attention constantly. Immediately, this sounds awful. Get out of this situation. It sounds like she's, like, you're the asshole for saying ew to a picture of your roommate's boyfriend. And she, in that first paragraph, is giving herself the behavior, like a pass for her bad behavior. That's bad behavior. But she's going, well, this girl's a dick. Like, she doesn't clean up. She's this Great Dane. It's chaos, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't excuse your bad behavior. One bad, what's the saying? One bad turn doesn't deserve not, or whatever. Two wrongs don't make a right. There you go. Moving on. She tends to get upset whenever she cannot be in control of the situation. Again, immediately pointing it at her. If you don't like the situation, get out. Whether I have places I wanted to go, she tags along, insisting on going where she wants to until I cave or gets really mad and starts complaining despite the fact that she's tagged along with me. Get rid of this person. She sounds awful. Not the other way around. She used to be rude to my friends, but has been better with that. But since that happened, my friends would rather not spend time with her since she tends to be very selfish and we don't have much in common. She expects me to talk to her when she's sad all the time, but doesn't care about anything I do as well. Anyway, the other night she exploded on me because after sending a picture of her boyfriend, I responded ew because I thought it was funny. She got upset and said I'm constantly mean to her and she regrets ever meeting me. I would normally brush that off, but then when I said I would be going to bed, she said, don't wake up. And I felt that seriously crossed the line. She blocked me and won't speak to me now. Am I the asshole? Do you know what this sounds like? This sounds like two 19-year-olds. This sounds like two 19-year-olds who need to not live with each other anymore. Obviously, like, they are clashing. And because, like, OP almost sounds like untrustworthy narrator, because she could be just as much of the problem here as the roommate that she's talking about. So I don't really trust this person. I think you need to just get out. Right now, it's the end of you and me. It's too late. I can't wait for you to be gone. JoJo, in case you didn't know. So I'm going to say you are the asshole, because you don't say ew to someone's boyfriend's picture. That's just rude. And it doesn't matter, like, all the stuff before. Like, just be better than that. Be a better person than that. You don't want to, like, lower yourself to that crap. So yeah, the roommate sounds like an asshole, but so do you. So do you. Get out. Get out of there. Get out of that situation. Look, do you know what? I actually didn't look. Let's see what other people have to say. I bet they're on my side. Everyone sucks here. Not gonna lie, you both sound exhausting, right? Responding you to someone's boyfriend's photo is immature and rude, and you're clearly trying to paint your roommate in a negative light. Your roommate has controlling tendencies, and blocking and silent treatment as a conflict resolution. You both suck. See? Someone wrote, you're the asshole. She sounds unpleasant to be around, but in that specific interaction, you were being an asshole. You're an asshole. She sounds insufferable, but honestly, so do you. And literally nothing you said in the post leading up to the incident explains why you thought it was okay to express your disgust at someone else's partner. Someone else wrote, why did you include the first two paragraphs? They have nothing to do with the conflict at hand. All it's doing is creating the narrative that you want to push forward. Yeah. For the actual question at hand, you are the asshole. I knew it. These people are smart, just like me. Okay, this one looks interesting. This is the top 1% poster. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, guys. I'm not very Reddit proficient, so let's see. Okay. Am I the asshole for filing a police report on a good friend who was caught on video stealing my boyfriend's camera at dinner? She refused to help me either replace it in full or contribute to the cost of replacing it. No, you're not the asshole. If your friend, good friend, was caught on camera stealing your boyfriend's camera, you're not the asshole for filing a police report. But we'll see. More context. We were out to dinner one night and at an expensive hotel. My boyfriend let me borrow his Canon G7X 1800 camera to bring to take pictures with my friends. At the conclusion of the dinner, I went up to the room and realized the camera was gone. I went right back down to the table and no one had seen it. I immediately got with hotel security, and she's on video, clear as day, swiping the camera when my back was turned and shoving it in her purse. I covered for her initially with my friend and contacted her to find a resolution. She'd taken the camera with her and my other friends to a club after dinner, which I did not attend, and lost it there. For background, this is a good friend who I know well. She's been taken on free trips to Coachella and St. Bart's on my dime, not kidding, as well as many other things. We've done a lot of things together and are good friends, so I expected her to feel sorry. Initially, she lied, saying she didn't have it. But when I told her that we had her on video, she confessed, and then she took it, but lost it at the next bar that she went to with my other friends, and it's now gone. I asked her to help me replace it by going in on me with the cost, but she refused all measures or resolutions. And now I feel like I have nothing left to do but file a police report and let them handle it. It is impacting my relationship, obviously. Don't be friends with a thief. She's not your friend. If she actually really stole your camera, she's not your friend. I'm furious my friend is not helping at all. Why should I be on the hook for something that she stole? I've given her 3 weeks to help me resolve this, but she insists that she's going to do nothing. I am being pressed by my boyfriend to either replace the camera or help him file a report with her info and the footage. I even asked her to just throw in half or less than the cost to help, but she still refuses. I do not want her to get in trouble, but I'm at this point where I feel that she really doesn't care. There's a couple updates, but I'm going to talk about this first. This woman isn't your friend. Friends do not steal from other friends. And I'm very much of the idea that you do not let people get away with bad behavior. That's how more bad behavior occurs. If someone is arrested, in Canada, we have this really bad habit of letting people out of jail and then they reoffend. So if someone's arrested for sexually assaulting a woman, they should go to jail and stay in jail for sexually assaulting a woman for however long they're charged for. I believe it should be a couple of years. If you're caught for raping somebody, you should be in jail for a couple of years. That's as someone who's been sexually assaulted herself. And then if you let them out after a month, you're teaching them that their actions don't have consequences, and then they reoffend, and it does it over and over and over again, which is like the guy who stabbed that European woman, that beautiful blonde European woman on the bus, had offended something like 18 times and didn't go to jail. Like, this is bad. People need consequences for their actions. So you're like, this is a good friend. No, she's not. And filing a police report, like, you're not friends with this person anyways. You shouldn't be friends with this person. Friends off. As soon as she steals something from you, friends off. Like, if it's like, hey, I was at your house, I took a lipstick, like, so sorry, I'll give it back. Different, right? Like, you borrowing your sister's clothes or whatever, right? But like, those cameras, I looked at one the other day. It's $2,000. It's $2,000 for one of those cameras. And she's just like, no, I'm not going to pay for it. Okay, jail time, like police report time. That's sorry, you're being faced with the consequences of your own actions. Okay, there's a couple updates. Update number 1. I sent her a text this morning telling her if I do not receive the full cost of the camera or shipping confirmation of a new camera from an approved vendor to a provided address by the end of Friday, I will be filing a police report. I feel like an asshole typing this out to her, but I have to do it. Update number 2. She told me she's sick of me and that I'll be receiving a tracking number by noon Eastern time on Friday, and not to blame her if the package is never received. I told her if she was my real friend, she would be sorry, and in no way I will allow this to be flipped on me. Should I ask if the camera's new or if it's the one that disappeared? Update number 3. She sent me a tracking number via FedEx. It says it is a waiting package. I've asked her repeatedly if she's sending me the original camera, assuming it magically turned up, or a new one. She refuses to answer and only tells me to stop bothering her. See, this woman is a cunt. Update number 4. I'm more and more convinced that my friend, camera thief, took the camera hoping that I would just replace it for my boyfriend and gifting her a free camera. For background, this friend is heavily involved on Instagram and loves taking pictures. The Canon G7 is coveted by women because it is known as the Instagram camera. Is it? Is it? Even if you wanted to buy one at full price, they're out of stock everywhere. Let's hope this gets returned with this tracking. FedEx still says it's awaiting packaging, even though the shipping info was sent to them at 7 p.m. yesterday. Update number 4. Original camera has returned via FedEx the other day. She had the fucking camera the whole time. He has been given back to the boyfriend. However, the camera thief blocked me on all socials after this. It appeared she was trying to keep the camera for herself and expected me to just buy a new one for my boyfriend. What a fucking cunt. She stole the camera, lied so that it was taken, and just tried to keep it until she was threatened with a police report, and then she just sends back the camera. What a fucking bitch. Ugh. The first comment says, you're the asshole? What? Is there a reason you're choosing your thieving friend over your boyfriend? She made it clear she's not your friend. The police report should have been filed the moment that she said she wasn't going to pay for it. If I were your boyfriend, I would be reconsidering this relationship. You're really dragging your feet to make this right. Get the police report and replace his camera. Oh, they had a point. You sincerely believe you're being the nice person to her in general. You're mistaken. You're the asshole. She clearly feels entitled to steal from her friends, even the friends who've been super generous with her. How do you think she feels when with people who are less close, friends or coworkers? You've enabled her to steal from others. I guarantee you that she has, and that is partly on you if you do not file this police report. When some other less fortunate person is unable to pay their rent and she merely skated through proven incidents of theft, you could be a part of the cause of making that random stranger homeless. You've clearly not thought this through. File the police report, sue her for the full amount. Do not spend another penny on her ever. People who imagine themselves to be people pleasers are usually doing more harm than good. Yeah, the people must have commented before the updates, but yeah, I totally agree. So in this case, you're the asshole. I'd be pissed if I was that boyfriend. Let's see, what is that? A Canon G7X. Let's see how much that is. Yeah, $2,000. Yep. There you go. 2,600, 2,800, 2,700. Crazy. You know what works good? My phone. I have my newest Samsung S22, 24 Ultra, 23 Ultra, something like that. And then what's recording right now is my Samsung S20 Ultra or whatever it is. Still 4K. Still working out really well. How do I look? How do I look? Do I look good? Great. I think it's good. All right. Okay. Am I the asshole for not taking more pictures for my sister-in-law on a trip abroad? I'm going to say no. Unless the sister-in-law was like, hey, can you take pictures of me? And you're like, no. Then, yeah, if she asks, take pictures of her. Unless she, if she didn't ask, right? Okay, I-34 male, that is a glaring piece of information. Male. I am a content creator. I'm an actor. I love being center of attention. Just look at my Instagram. I have 2 YouTube channels. Check out my other one, Laura Reports. Laura Christine Reports. And my boyfriend's an actor. And he is a man. And he is getting better, but isn't great at taking my, like, I have to direct him to take my picture. Like, he wouldn't just automatically be taking pictures of me, even though I obviously love it. And he doesn't like getting pictures taken of himself, which is weird because he's an actor and he's hot. But like, he's a man. You have to tell them. You have to tell them you want them to take pictures. So let's continue. I-34 male. Spent a couple of months in India earlier this year for a consulting project with my engineering firm. Before I left, my sister-in-law, 29 female, who's from India, asked me to take plenty of pictures during my trip. There we go. Another key piece of information. So you should have taken plenty of pictures. If you couldn't, say, so sorry, I'm going to be working. I will be unable to take pictures for you. She said she wanted to see the places I visited and was excited for me to experience her home country and see how things might have changed since I was in the state that she grew up in, but hasn't been back in years. But she did not specify what pictures she wanted. Well, she did. She said, take plenty of pictures from your trip. I think that's pretty specific. Take plenty of pictures from your trip. Since the project lasted a while, I had free time outside of my work on weekends and holidays. I used that time to explore. I did visit some of the popular landmarks with my coworkers, but to be honest, I didn't find them that impressive compared to places like Rome or Paris, so I only took a few pictures. This guy kind of sounds like a dipshit right off the bat because he's like, oh, you know, the Taj Mahal just wasn't as cool as like the, you know, the Eiffel Tower or the Colosseum in Rome. So what I did find interesting was seeing how people actually live in different parts of the country. As an engineer, I like observing housing, infrastructure, sanitation, even poorer areas. I've done the same thing when I visited Egypt and Somalia, and it helps me appreciate what I have. Bonus points. So most of my pictures ended up being of slums, rivers full of trash, people washing clothes or bathing in polluted water, and just the daily life of people in less fortunate areas. For India, it was particularly interesting to me since my country has a lot of immigration from there recently, and I was looking to understand their culture and roots more deeply. When I got back, my sister-in-law was eager to see the photos. I handed her my phone, and after scrolling for a bit, she got upset. She asked why I only took pictures of filth and said I made her country look terrible. I told her that that was not my intention at all, and I just find these things fascinating. She got really angry and said that I must be insane or obsessed with poverty. My wife thinks she overreacted, but also understands why she was upset. I genuinely did not mean any disrespect, and I do the same kind of photography everywhere I go. Am I the asshole? Do you know what? I think not. I think that he's a very specific type of person who, when he travels, I find it interesting that he's like, I want to I totally get that when I travel in places that are less rich than where I live, I definitely come back with a renewed sense of gratitude. I'm like, I'm so lucky to be here. Thank you, God. I'm so happy. Like, I pray for these people. Like, and he sounds like he almost is kind of a photographer. Like, he's traveling to this. He said, these are the type of pictures I take everywhere. And I've seen a lot of those types of photographs are lauded. Like, you know, there's huge big name photographers who take pictures of, you know, impoverished areas. And if that's what you're doing and that's what you want to do and those are the pictures you take of, okay, cool, yeah. You know, I think you should have probably taken pictures of like the Taj Mahal or wherever else you went also for your sister-in-law, but I think she's probably just being defensive of where she's coming from. India's poor. For the, you know, they're either really rich or really poor, and you know, it's not a knock on where she's coming from. It's just kind of where you were and what you were doing, and I don't think you're the asshole. Which is funny because they were labeled the asshole here, and I disagree. Someone wrote, bro, if you moved to another country, heard your in-laws visited your home country, asked for pictures to relieve some homesickness, would you be happy if they only took pictures of trash and poverty? You're the asshole. See, I mean, you should have just, I think the only thing that you should have done is had like a file full of like the good, cool pictures, and then a file for like the other poverty ones that you took. But it's just kind of life, you know, it's just kind of what it is. All these people are like, you're the asshole, you're the asshole. I don't really agree, but that's what life's for. I have a lot of opinions that people don't agree with, right? Alrighty. Damn. This one looks interesting. Am I the asshole for not bringing my daughter's friends home and making her parents come get her? I'm going to say yes, but let's see. My daughter and I live about an hour outside of New York City. Since she was a baby, I've taken her there most weekends. As she got older, she occasionally brought her friends. They always know the rules. Bring a bag with things for the train, carry your own stuff, stick together, expect lots of walking, and have fun. Phones are fine, but I encourage screen-free activities. I always speak to the parents beforehand and emphasize the walking. We sometimes walk 45 minutes or more. For her 12th birthday last weekend, she wanted to go to the city with friends, visit favorite spots, have dinner, and maybe see a show. My mom helped pay for tickets. So the grandmother helped pay for tickets and joined us. My daughter invited 3 girls, 2 longtime friends who know the routine, and a new friend, Leah. I called Leah's mom, explaining the rules, warning about the walking, and suggested Leah bring something for the train since the signal is bad. Leah's mom said she was excited. My daughter also explained the expectations. On the train, Leah brought only her phone, got bored when the signal cut out, refused to chat or play games with the others, and complained. When we arrived, she immediately asked for a cab. My daughter reminded her that we walk. As we browsed shops, Leah kept whining and asking for a cab. I stayed patient, offered water and snack breaks, and even suggested the subway to be nice. But she refused when she learned what it was. What 12-year-old doesn't know what the subway is? If you're 12 and you don't know what the subway is and you live an hour away from New York, your parents are doing something wrong. This 12-year-old sounds annoying. A few hours in, we stopped for dinner at a place with options for everyone. Leah complained again and said that she wanted to go home. I pulled her aside to check if she was sick or upset. She just said that it was boring. I told her we'd be there a few more hours for the show, but she wanted to leave. She could call her mom. Leah called and her mom asked me to bring her back. Even if my mom or I left with Leah and took a train back after we dropped her off, we'd miss the show. And my daughter wanted both of us there. I explained we wouldn't head back until after the show. Leah's mom didn't want to pay for a train ticket or drive. She eventually sent Leah's dad, who picked her up before the show. Leah stayed crabby through dinner. Afterwards, Leah's mom trashed me to the other moms, but they backed me up, saying they wouldn't expect me to cut the trip short unless a child was sick or hurt, which I would do. Now Leah's mom won't let her hang out with my daughter, and I can't help wonder if I should have just sucked it up and taken her home. Am I the asshole? No, you are not the asshole. These are the entitled children thing. This is the entitlement. Like, there seems to be an epidemic of entitlement. This is not about you. You're going with the grandmother, the mother, Leah, 2 other friends, and the girl. There's 6 of you. You expect, and you were given the rules, you expect all of that to change because you're bored, and the mom's like, yeah, come bring her back. Go fuck yourself. I'd be like, no, sorry. This is the plan. This is what we're doing. Suck it up. Let's go. Like, she was nice to be like, yeah, call you. If your mom wants to pick you up, like, dad wants to pick you up, go ahead. I would be like, what are you talking about? You knew the rules. Like, just the fact that this mom and dad went to go get her, she was not sick. She was not hurt. She was being a fucking whiner. And she got her way. And she got her way. And that's how we breed entitled children. These parents are awful. Someone said the fact that Leah's mom won't let Leah hang out with your daughter is a bonus. Leah sounds like a high maintenance and whiny bad influence on your kid. Write his off as an experience that your daughter will learn from. Sounds like the apple didn't fall far from the uterus. That's funny. Not the asshole. Leah's spoiled, entitled child, and her mother's reactions proves exactly whose fault this is. You managed the expectations just fine. Not the asshole. I'm the mother of a 13-year-old, and I would have done the same. I also would not be too fussed about my child losing this particular friend, and I wouldn't allow her to come on any more trips, sleepovers, or play dates. I've actually banned whiny or difficult children from my house before, after telling my child exactly why. Amazing. I think that's good for now. We had a long, good read. I still need my voice for work later, so thank you so very much for joining us. Please like and subscribe this video. Bye!